The Build Show Build Boston series is sponsored by Allura Fiber Cement Siding, Mitsubishi Electric Train US, Roseburg, Schuco USA, and Warmboard.
A Build Show. We have 2 bonus episodes that we thought would be really helpful to you, the viewer, in such that we don't talk about necessarily a specific, hey, we're installing windows or we're installing the roof here, mechanical roughs, but we're going to do a progress video where we're going to walk the outside of the building, we're going to walk through the first floor, and then we're going to walk through the basement level, and we're going to do 2 sets of those progress walks. We're going to walk one with Jared and Kevin, who make up the pair at LDS Construction. They're the general contractors here. And then we're going to do one set where we walk through with Scott, who's one of the clients here handling the project. But these progress videos are such that we're going to walk through and talk about, hey, what did we change? What were our thoughts? How did we get here? And really in the general sense, and just to give you an idea that while, you know, all of the previous 9 episodes, it might look like everything was perfect. We dotted every I and crossed every T. But the reality is this project is not unlike other projects. We get halfway through and say, maybe we should do this. And we do a 90-degree turn and we make some decisions. And next thing you know, we're doing that, and it was never planned for, but we're making whatever adjustments to that. Hopefully I can answer some of the questions you guys have had on YouTube. I've been monitoring them. I've been doing my best to answer them online, but we can still walk through and we can talk about a whole bunch of different things there. So I saw Kevin around the front of the house. Let's jump out there. We'll walk around the outside. We'll talk about what we're doing out here and get you caught up on some progress. So I'll see you out front.
Steve, how are you?
Doing fine, buddy. Always a pleasure to catch up. So, I thought we might just take a few minutes. We can walk around the outside here and just talk about where we're at, what we've done, any changes that we might have made along the way, and give all the viewers a glimpse into the future of saying, hey, these are some things to come. So,
sounds good.
So, we're starting out here at the front door. So, one of the interesting things about the front door to me is you look at this and you say, holy cow, Steve, you gotta have a flight of stairs getting up there. But the reality is that we're bringing this grade up significantly, right? I mean, you have a mark on the wall there.
Yeah, so we have our finished grade set right here, and the driveway gravel right now where it is about the height where it's gonna be. I mean, we'll be 2 inches of binder, 1.5 inches of asphalt there.
We'll build that up a little, but that 10 inches below the sheathing, that is going to come out well out to about here or so. And so we're going to have this nice plateau in front of the house, and then we'll just have this landscape berm down to the road. Now, there's a couple things about that that I think are significant when I was thinking about it. One, anything I ever have to look up to always seems to have some kind of prominence as opposed to looking down or looking at something. So when you're driving around and coming around, it puts the house up on this kind of pediment or plateau here, and it gives the house just a wee bit of significance.
Big time. So
that when you drive by, it's like you feel like the house itself has gotten some elevated stature because it's up on this little hill. It also gives us the opportunity, we'll build in some nice landscape stone steps here, and we'll carry that pretty much all the way around the garage. I mean, when we get to the garage, the plan is we'll kind of taper that down to the driveway down there. And the same with here in the front of the house, because that's a low spot, we'll work our way down. But this main section of the house here, we're going to maintain that 10-inch or minus 10-inch grade there.
Yep.
I can see we got, all of our waterproofing intact. We're going to go around and we're going to add just a little bit more to that and terminate it. So we just have it temporarily taped to keep stuff out of there. I know this has been excavated, filled, and excavated. What do we got going on down in here?
So we wanted to get the basement slab poured. So what we did was we talked to the engineer and got the elevation for the septic system, which is going to be in the front yard here. So we set our pipe below the footing and stubbed it out here so that we're able to get all of our underground plumbing finished, inspected, and get our basement concrete slab
So we
done.
basically have all of our sewer pipe. The exit point is somewhere at the bottom of that board.
About 4 feet below that.
About 4 feet below that. And then this is going to go out, and just on the other side of the driveway is the plan for the new septic system.
Yes.
Out there. And it's all gravity fed, right?
All of
We're
it,
not
yes.
pumping it.
We have no pump
And
system
so
here.
the whole house will be gravity fed. So that's always a plus in my eyes. Anytime I have to rely on a mechanical feature, you're always suspect, because mechanical features have the ability to become non-mechanical at some time. So we could take a walk around here. You can see, obviously, all of the windows are in. I wasn't here for big window day. I was here to see the big slider go in, but I know you guys rented a specialty piece of equipment there. That spider-like arm pretty much grabbed that window and threw it right in. So, you know, that's a 13-foot window by what? About 5.5 feet there. So we have our fascia going up. Now, this is the first time you've ever worked with that, right?
Yes, Acre product. Yep.
Acre product. And it's by a company, Modern Mills is the manufacturer. And the interesting thing is that that's made from rice hulls.
Yes.
So it's, you know, pretty much indestructible. But the beauty of it is it takes a paint and or a stain, right? So you can stain it, you can paint it. We're actually going to stain ours, stain it just this really dark kind of iron ore color. You can see we have our cantilevered roof frame there. There is no columns under there. That's just going to be the flying roof that you see there. And we got a special treat today. I can hear them behind me, but we got the rubber roof going on up there.
Yep.
So
they've started this morning. They're making good headway. They should be 2 or 3 days. They should be out of here with the rubber.
Okay. And obviously we have our fascia detail there. It's what I call a stepped fascia. And I actually embedded a small 1x in there to create that shadow line, which I think is a pretty nice detail, in that it not only does it push the gutter out and make everything a little bit bigger, but it really gives a definitive line and breaks the scale of, I mean, that fascia is about 14, 16 inches, and breaking down the scale into some smaller pieces there certainly makes a difference.
And all of that Acre product is screwed and has caps that match the...
Has the little plugs there, so everything gets countersunk and then plugged here. Over here, I can see that, you know, we've built up our grade here in the garage. We're actually using it. We have a bunch of our materials getting stored there, but we've built that up, and we were talking earlier today, we're not far from getting a concrete slab in there.
No, we're about a week away. We brought the grade up so we'd have less steps coming out of the house.
Right.
And while we were doing that, we also took into effect what our grade was doing in the backyard. So we set our heights here to finish grade for concrete, while also shooting the backyard to make sure that we can get the water from that back portion of the yard out and around, like you talked about earlier, gravity.
Yeah, we're going to build up that grade on the back side of the garage, push the water about 20 feet away, and then create a swale that swings wide of the driveway to push that water away. I mean, you know, you guys have probably heard me say it about water in pretty much anything I do. Get rid of it as fast as you can. If you let water linger, it will become a nightmare and a problem for you. I can see that, you know, the guys have gone around, they've put, you know, the zip R9 came down to the top bottom plate, and then we called for a treated block here, and pretty much that's to keep animals and critters from burrowing up into that zip R9. So I can see that's gotten on there. All the tape is on there. The tape has been rolled, so we're good there. And then we come to, you know, undoubtedly one of my favorite parts of the house is this back courtyard. It's big window central. I know you guys had a lot of fun out here.
We did have a blast. We had to, like you spoke about, we got it's a vacuum lifter that attaches to the lull, and what it does is it takes about a 12-man job to a 4 or 5-man job.
Right.
Safety, it's easy to work with. It was
Puts
a
you at a
lot
lower
easier.
risk of, I mean, you drop that lift and slide door, someone has to write a $20,000 check that
Right.
doesn't want to write it.
Right.
Right. So, yeah. So here you can see, I mean, who doesn't want this? Granted, we still have all the protective tape on there. It's going to get a little bit more beautiful, but you're getting a really good sense of the size and scale of things. We certainly have to bring the grade up here, probably about another foot. I did talk with Scott, and so we are going to put a pool in here.
Yes,
so
we are.
We're in the preliminary stages of planning for that. We knew that there was a chance of it going in, but it is in fact going to go in. So we're going to do that. But, you know, walking around here, got some nice, big, beautiful windows. You know, I know you guys, this was your first time working with Schuco USA, right?
Yes.
Mine too.
Yep.
You know, you guys did a beautiful job. All of our windows are water managed, meaning that if any water gets into the system, you can see it has the ability to drain out there. So there were a few tricky steps into getting that, but in the end, you know, I always think it's interesting, and you know, you can certainly speak to it. There's certainly ways of doing things, and then there's other ways of doing things. And you know, not only is this a window situation where it's really good managed, but it lowers your risk
Big time.
as the builder.
The water will always get out of there. It'll never hold. It will never rot. It's a great detail, and we're using it on other projects as well.
Right, right. Now, you know, and with that, if you go back and watch the window install videos, you'll see we have a back dam slope sill, so we're always pushing water out of that system. But one of the systems where we don't necessarily have that luxury is over here at our lift and slide door. So actually here, we made a copper pan that actually has a back dam on the back of the door frame so that we can bring our hardwood floor up to it. But there's no penetrations in here. This is all gravity loaded
Lexel
onto that system with Lexel underneath there. And then obviously we have all of our hooks on the side here and brackets to hold that in. But I mean, this is kind of the, you know, one of the signature pieces of this house.
Yeah, so this was really cool. What we did was we had to install the frame of the window and the door, and then Schuco USA, they came out and did all the glazing on site, which was really cool to watch and see how this thing was put together.
Yeah.
And they did it in about an hour, so it was really, really a cool operation.
Yeah, it's always great when manufacturers, you know, like you said, Schuco USA sent out 3 of their top guys, and they basically put the door and panels, glazed it all, put all the weather stripping in, and put this together here. I mean, this is, I would venture to guess, probably about 1,200 pounds plus.
That's exactly what it is.
You know,
it's 1208.
Yeah, so there you go, with, you know, the door probably being about 400 of that. And, you know, to ship that and put that all at risk, they ship the glazing independently. So we really need to get those guys, you know, here, get them installing it, and get it right. And they were here for the whole install.
They were great, Steve. Schuco USA, they were fantastic from the delivery of the windows to the install. The guys that were on site were great, and also the office helping us out with the install, making sure
coordination of shipping and
everything.
all of that stuff.
It was a team effort, but I'm happy with the way it came out.
Yeah, but the tolerances of this to operate properly are pretty much zero.
Zero.
So you really have to, you know, have some people out here that really understand the lift and slide doors. This isn't a handyman project.
No, it's not.
You know, so we go over here. We got our beautiful window from the owner's bedroom that overlooks the pool. This one's about 10.5 feet wide and 9 foot tall. Another monster to put in, and we actually have an operable window in the lower right section there. But man, it has, you know, when we go inside, you'll see the views from the inside out. But man, that just frames that wall beautifully.
And so the goal was to get the windows in, get them level, get them secured. And now what we'll do is we're going to go back and make sure everything's perfect with the framer and ourselves, and just make sure everything is the way that the homeowner
We'll start
himself wants.
installing the exterior tape, the interior tape, all of those pieces. So yeah, it's looking good, looking good. come around. This is actually one of my best, or one of my more favored shots when you're standing
Agreed.
in that corner looking in, and you could just imagine having the pool, having the small deck coming out off of that lift and slide door there, little built-in barbecue grill outside the kitchen window. Yeah, who wouldn't want this backyard, right? So coming around here, we have our door. Now this is a pretty interesting one. You know, I've given some tours of the house and people have said, oh, what, you went floor to ceiling window. No, that's actually a door because we have an outdoor shower here. And it's funny because if I were ever to build a house for myself, it's one of the must-haves, definitely got-to-dos of a house if I was building a house for me. I mean, just imagine all summer long you get to come out and take a shower outside. Obviously there's going to be some kind of enclosure here, but
well, and off of your primary bathroom.
And it's off of the primary bathroom, so it's not like
you'll use it more.
It's not like you're walking across the house in
right.
a towel to go outside. That's your bathroom. Instead of turning right and going to the interior shower, you turn left and go to the exterior shower. And the beauty
really
of
cool
this
feature.
is that shower is going to have a small platform and stairs down, so it doubles the use as a shower for the pool, right? So anytime we can do, you know, one thing work for two things, we've
I think we'll see more of these down the road.
I think so too. I think this is a feature that, you know, more times than not, that people are gonna, I mean, I have another project actually in the works, and yeah, the wife is totally keen on it. You know, here's our shea concrete bulkhead that we put in. One of the things I like to mention is, you know, you can see the ground sinking, but that's actually a good thing.
Yes.
Right? You get this thing in, and some guys I know, they'll wait to backfill. I say, backfill it right away. Mm-hmm. That way there, every rainstorm is pushing that dirt down into the nooks and crannies and really packing it in. I mean, this thing has probably dropped about 4 or 5 inches since we installed it.
Yeah, so when we install these, we put stone at the bottom, right, so we can get all the way and make sure it's compacted. And then going back to the foundation, when we backfill the foundation, we don't backfill because it's a 9-foot wall. We don't backfill all the way up. So we backfill about halfway up, compact it, and then we put our first floor framing on so that the walls, so that we don't have so much pressure from the outside up against the walls.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, what a great system. 4 bolts, and I got a bulkhead.
A guy in a truck.
And then, of course, we got our Bilco size C basement door. That's basically the, you know, hurricane hatch doors there. That'll sit up there, and then we have a little extension, which is what the C is for. You know, moving down, obviously, we got grading. There's a lot to be done out here, but again, all of our beautiful windows, owner's bedroom there. We have the owner's closet there, so we can put some furniture under those high windows, but we also have, you know, the proximity to the neighbor's house. So it was with some intention, you know, the size of some of these windows and the placement of some of these windows, knowing that, you know, your neighbor's deck is looking back at you and you're looking out at them. So being sensitive to that. And then this is something else that I think we're going to see more and more of too. These kind of, I don't even know what you would call it, window wells, oversized window wells to get egress windows in the basement. Yes. So that one's to what we know is a dedicated bedroom. This one is to what we're calling the fitness room, but it could very easily be walled off, and that could be the 5th bedroom of the house.
Yeah, and what we did was we put a wall in between the windows so that it splits the rooms. Yeah. So that, like you had mentioned, you could have fitness or a bedroom on each side. And what we'll have to do, because it's egress, we'll have to build a stair on the inside of this, yeah, so that if there was ever an emergency, you have the access to get out of this area.
Yeah, and sometimes we just, if it's low enough, you can actually just build some terraces,
yes,
out of some timber boards there so people can use it like, yep, a stairway.
Yeah, some people use granite, some people use wood, so it's really up to the homeowner or the architect and yourself on what you want to do. Yep.
There, yeah. So, yeah, so here we are right at that front corner of the house where, you know, you come up the driveway, you turn the corner and bang, you know, this is right in your face. The corner of the window here, you know, I think when you come around the corner, seeing the windows on the corner the 24-inch roof overhang. It just, I don't know. To me, I love it. I'd come around here every day going, yeah, that's my house.
Yeah, and when you walk in the house, come into this corner with this window is such a great sight out to the driveway and out to the front yard.
Yeah, yeah. And then we, of course, have the complimentary monster over here in the dining area, where we folded the windows around the corner there too. And like I said, we have that, 13-footer in front of the dining room, which kind of has a little bit of a fishbowl aspect to it, but we're 400 feet from the road, so there's not much they're going to see there.
So this was a tricky one getting in, Steve, due to the clip that was on the lull.
Yep.
And getting it up underneath here, because there was about 12 inches from the top of the chain to where the vacuum lifter was.
Yeah.
So we had to get underneath it very slowly, get the bottom in, and then a bunch of guys, Schuco USA involved as well, muscling this window up to get it in place and secured.
Well, the good news is you got it in.
We got it in. And we didn't mess up any of the fascia.
Didn't mess up any of the fascia. Everything's looking good here. We got our windows. We got some basement windows. I can see they're prepping to install those. And
Yep.
just because it's the basement doesn't mean it gets any less attention. I can see you got our back dam and slope sill and everything happening there. But yeah, next up we got that front door. We got to get installed. That's a beautiful slate blue. I don't know if you saw it yet. But
Yeah, I did. It looks beautiful.
It's inside there. But yeah, I say I'm going to jump inside, catch up with your counterpart, Jared, and we'll do a little bit of walkthrough. Any parting words? Anything you think you'd change out here? Or?
Out here, no. I love how the elevation coming up the driveway, and I love the way the house looks and sits. It's been a fun project and enjoyable.
I know it costs more money than if this was just a straight 120-foot wall, but I got to tell you, I mean, one of my favorite things about this house is the way that the elevations coastline in and out, right? You really get these kind of little pockets that are scaled down of different things happening, whether it's a recess or, a positive add-on to the elevation there. But I think that's really, the success of the elevations here on both sides.
And I was just going to say that. It's not just the front. It's not the front does this and you go out back and it's one straight line.
Yeah.
If you go in that back corner and get the view of the different ins and outs of this house, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you bring up a good point that in a lot of houses I try to convey to the homeowner and client, and most of them are very good about it, but some clients will say, well, that's the back of the house, I won't worry about it there. No, we worry about it everywhere, right? And I think when we're designing a house as an architect and working with our clients, that we really have to key in on building a cohesive idea.
Right.
Like, we don't spend all the money here and then we go to the backside, put vinyl siding up and call it a day.
Right.
We really want to have that. You go around the back of the house and it still looks as good as the front. It looks like it belongs to the front, and you have this really tightly knit package where wherever you go around the house, you just say, damn, I like that house.
Great view. It is.
So, all right, buddy.
Great seeing
We're
you.
going to part ways. I'm going to
good.
go inside, catch up with Jared, and yeah, I'll see you around.
Sounds good.
We got a lot more to do here.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, buddy. All right, let's head inside. All right, so we just finished the exterior walk around with Kevin. We got his counterpart right here, Jared, the other half of LDS Construction. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Steve.
How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I figured I just gave Kevin his 15 minutes of fame. I figured, hey, let's grab Jared and maybe we do a quick walk around the inside
Sure
and we
thing.
can talk about progress. So we're standing in the Coliseum, the 4-car garage. Scott will appreciate that in the video. But now, it's funny because when I started out, 1 cars, 2 cars were the luxury. I'm doing houses now, 5 car, 7 car. It's crazy, but it's their choice. I do my best. But anyways, here we are in here. We have our storage loft, and it looks like it's half done, but that's because we actually opted out of the 2x8 framing and we are going to put in LVLs there. Now, I know we had the discussion, we're just finalizing the change, but you know, Kevin and I talked about, you know, projects these days, there's a lot of things that are somewhat fluid and in motion. And I know originally we were talking about a pull down stair or, you know, like a magic stair type of arrangement here. And then it hit me, it's like, well, we have a staircase there. Why don't we just build a real staircase up to the storage loft? Now, we have the 3 24-inch LVLs in the way, obviously, but we could post those up on this foundation wall, cut the last 3 foot, and we'll put that stair in there, and then we'll have a real walk-up stair to that loft area. So I think that'll work out. It's a slight change, but you know, framers are waiting on my drawing. We'll get that to them. We'll get that installed here. You know, one of the cool things here, you and Kevin paid attention. The framers, Matt King, paid attention. You know, we have our Zip R9 there. You might say, well, we're inside the garage. Why are you putting Zip R9 in the garage? Well, the garage is still considered outdoor space. Right. Right? It's not conditioned space. Whether you heat it or not, you still, that is the barrier between the interior conditioned space and the garage. So having that turn the corner and then having the garage walls butt up to it, that's the, you know, a key detail.
And even though he's planning on conditioning this area with some sort of, you know, we're going to heat it in the wintertime, but he's not going to always have it at the temperature the inside.
No, you're not going to heat this up to 72. You're going to heat this up to 55 to take the edge off. Right? You're not going to, you know, heat it up so you're out here watching TV.
Exactly.
So I can see here, you know, one of the things about garages during construction that I'm sure you can attest to is you take deliveries and they become the temporary warehouse.
Certainly is. And you don't want to hold them off because you're not sure if you're going to get them back or not. So if they're ready to bring it out and we're pretty close to that point, we'll take them on and then just, you know, keep them safe.
So we have a bunch of our Zender equipment here. We have the comfort tubes there. We have our units there. We have a bunch of the registers and that. Taking delivery on that. The inside, we're right on the heels of a lot of people coming in here and starting to run wire, plumbing, and HVAC stuff. We've had a bunch of people through here doing a whole bunch of stuff. I know when I did the walk around, we talked with Kevin, we're probably about a week or so away from the garage here and having the slab come up. I know this is going to come up probably about another 5 or 6 inches from what we're standing on here. And then with that, we'll have that curb. We'll be able to put the stairs into the basement.
Get this set into the house done. Get this set down back into the basement done. We'll figure out the new plan and get the staircase, like you had said, up to the storage area taken care of. So it won't be long before we get all this situated.
We get all our stairs ready to roll. So, yeah. So we got windows in. We got walls up. You know, it's interesting that. You come here, you shoot the floor framing videos, roof framing, but you never really do a tour of the house. And, you know, part of the idea of this progress video is that we get to do a tour of the house. Yeah. So we come in here, you know, we have our mud room there. And if you haven't figured out, yeah, we have the roofers. They're right above us, and they're screwing down insulation. So, yeah.
We're doing the best we can.
We're doing the best we can. But, you know, we have the mud room here. We have a bunch of built-ins here that we're working on the final design for. We have closets here to actually, you know, take care of the coats, all of that good stuff. We have the plant room here. Now the plant room is, you know, this is just a room. Scott's partner, Jonathan, he's a hobbyist with trees and plants and such. So he wanted a room so that he could practice his craft and do his hobby. So we have the plant room. We have direct access outside. That'll go out to the pool. We got some nice south light there, so we get some sunlight into the system here and, you know, help with the plant room.
We've been getting ready for the plant room, you know, how we're going to attack it, HVAC-wise, electrical-wise, because we are going to attack that a little differently as far as, you know, the HVAC, the supplies and the returns, we're going to have them limited to this area. So we don't have to worry about maybe mixing it in and maybe getting scents and smells throughout the house that we're trying to keep in the plant room.
Right, right. Yeah, you don't want necessarily to pull any air out of there. The next thing you're smelling plants in the living room there. So coming down the hall here, you know, obviously you can see our warm board is in. It's certainly holding up, very durable, but I also noticed that Julie must have been here.
Yep.
Right, because when Julie comes, Julie will finish out and she'll draw in some of the places where you have to route her in new loops and make some connections. So, you know, she's really good about putting those marks in here and setting it up for you so you and your plumber aren't sitting here head scratching. They just got that all figured out for you.
Makes it easy for us. And then they provide us with a router and the bit to make these. They provide us with a template to put on top, so all the radiuses are perfect. So when we do go snap that pipe in, everything should fit snug.
Everything fits in there nice and snug. And obviously we're in the laundry room. We have the washer and dryer and some cabinetry. The reason for what appears to be a large door is it's a pocket door. And when you do a pocket door, it's twice the size of the door plus a little bit, because we're going to have the frame here that the pocket retreats into.
Yep.
So you basically have to frame it as one large opening and get that pocket door inside of that. Inside this cased opening, we have the small powder room, and I noticed here your plumber has been through. He's marked up, you know, water closet. He's got a center line for the vanity. So he's come through and made some initial marks here also.
He drills some pilot holes and he puts these flags down, so lets him know in the basement where he is. If we have a joist or something in his way, we can make arrangements to move it so he has access to get to these locations.
Yeah, I saw those flags when we were downstairs that, you know, they were there. And you could also see the black pipe there that I know Kevin and Bob, they worked out where the vent pipe was going to go. And then they installed that vent pipe, so now the roofers can work around that.
Exactly.
And they have knowledge of where that goes.
He figured the locations that work best for him. We put them up, like you and Kevin were talking about, up on the roof, that to have it there for them to roof, and also able for we can tie into them, and he already has the location set.
And get that all set, yeah. So a lot of coordination effort. There's a lot of things that are happening, especially in today's homes.
Definitely.
It's, you know, just the requirements. So I don't know what to say. Every time I walk in here, I'm like, wow, what a room.
It keeps getting better and better.
It gets better and better, and it's only going to get better when you walk in here. So this is, you know, one giant room. You can call it a great room, call it whatever you want. But basically, it's the kitchen, the living area, and the dining area, and the front entryway, right? So we have the front entryway carved out of the corner here. We have that nice cantilever that, you know, Kevin and I, we talked about that on the outside. We got our front door delivered, so I'm assuming that's going in soon.
Yep.
We got a nice closet there so that, you know, when you want to receive guests, you got a place to hang up their jackets and such. We have cabinetry that runs down this wall here, and I know we painstakingly, you know, had to create an indent here. The homeowner really wanted to use a full-size refrigerator,
right,
but wanted to have it look counter depth.
Exactly.
So we built that pocket so that you can recess that full-size fridge, but it'll still be at that counter depth with the rest of the cabinetry here. And then along this wall here, we have the stove wall. This wall here is the sink wall. Obviously the sink is centered on these beautiful windows. What do you think about these windows?
Love the windows. Process of getting them, receiving them from Schuco was awesome. And then you guys saw some of the videos of us putting them in. It, you know, we had 4 guys inside. We had a machine outside, putting them into place for us, leveling them, squaring them up. We even had, you know, we even had some glazed after they were installed with the fixed piece of glass here. It was just so big. But the quality of these windows is undoubted.
So sink gets centered on the fixed piece of glass. Now there's an intention there, right? And I won't tell you how I know this, but if you put a tilt-turn window here and then you put some faucet with a 10 or 12-inch neck, you get a conflict between opening that window and the faucet. So it's been my mission since many days ago to always have a fixed window in front of the sink. Then I don't have any operations conflicting with my faucets. We have an operable window off to one side, and we'll have some complementary cabinetry underneath there.
Makes sense.
And then, you know, one of the things that we're pretty much putting in almost every house now is a pantry.
Yep.
And, you know, this is nice because this cabinetry runs right up into that wall. This cabinetry will come down to the you know, near the door opening, and you could just run in and out of that pantry all day from the kitchen and have full visual access to, you know, 5 shelves worth of Costco
Whatever
goods.
you need. And we're starting to figure out it limits the number of cabinets you need to get. We don't need to get these crazy kitchens anymore. We're able to shrink the cabinetry and also have tons of space to get all the leftover stuff you need.
Yeah. And so we'll have our stove centered on that wall, and then we'll have, of course, you know, the much desired island that'll sit right here in the middle. You can get views out that way. You can see who's coming in the front door. I can see who's coming in the driveway from the corner window. And then, of course, we have the monster or the giant elephant in the room, right? There's the elephant in the room, and then there's the woolly mammoth. So, yeah, if you're not familiar, you know, this is a lift and slide door. When I turn it down, it lifts it up, puts it on a set of wheels, and then I have the ability to just push that door nice and easy.
And the ease at which it operates, the smoothness, the, you know, the ingenuity behind it, you can tell. You can tell what goes into these doors and windows the second you get them. The quality is off the charts.
Yeah, and this is, you know, for those of you that care, I'll put my little 150-pound frame in here and give you my best Vitruvian man, right? But yeah, we're talking 16 feet by almost 8 feet, 5-foot door, and a 30-inch transom. So beautiful view. You could just imagine when we have the pool out there and, you know, sunlight all winter long. It's going to be beautiful.
You're starting to get that feel, right? With the big window we have in the front, the big fixed glass slider in the back to see up the whole yard, the way you have the house up, seeing everything from all the vantage points, now it's starting to come together.
You know, one of the things that I love, a lot of my houses that I design are 150, 120, 160 feet long. Some of them are only 22, 24 feet wide. I think, you know, at our widest point here, we're at about 28 feet.
Right.
But there's something really nice about standing in the middle of the room, looking out to the backyard and looking out to the front yard from the same room.
It sets up very nicely.
Yeah. So I noticed we have some very large beams in here that you guys with the framer, we had to handle. I mean, in today's world with the lull, it's not
Makes it a lot easier. These guys would rather use the engineered lumber. Everything's straight, they know what's coming, and they don't have to worry about crowning, they don't have to worry about, you know, getting those ups and downs and runs and that kind of thing. So I think it works out for these guys to be able to use all this structural lumber and to move it around the job site. It's not as big of a deal as it used to be.
Right, right. And one of the coolest things, I got to go out to the LVL factory.
Great.
Out at Roseburg. You know, these things get made. They're like 40 or about 50 inches wide and 66 feet long.
That's amazing.
And then they cut down the size. It's just the scale of operations there is just.
And we're seeing them pop up
incredible.
everywhere, right? We use some for partitions and some on the inside of the house here. We're starting to see these become more part of the plans, more so than they were just a couple of years ago.
Right. And notice also on the high walls there, we all agreed that it made sense to go to an engineered piece of lumber. I mean, we're going to be hanging cabinets on there. You're going to have tile on there. There's going to be a bunch of things happening on there that really desire to have a straight wall.
Yep. You'll see a few of the walls we did in here. They are straight like that and engineered so we can go off of those.
Yeah. So, you know, and then here we also, for our roof, this is a vented roof. It's a parallel core truss, although it's not technically parallel, but, you know, we have an upper chord, a lower chord, single slope here that drops down onto the flat roof there. And, you know, one of the things there I was concerned about when we dropped that down, that trying to figure out a way, we actually noticed the framing goes parallel to the long window. And the reason for that was it allowed me to put a beam up above that window and tuck the header into the roof frame.
Yep.
And what that does is, even though that's a lower ceiling, I'm able to push those windows right up to about 4 inches from the ceiling height there.
Makes sense. Great detail.
It's, and again, you know, 13-footer with a pair of operables in the corner. It's
dynamite.
It's a win. So coming down here, you know, we leave the great room. We obviously have our stairs down to the basement here. That, you know, we have a temporary wall there. I know they framed it, but we're working with the cabinet guy, and I'm working with Scott and Jonathan developed, that's probably going to be more of a piece of furniture.
Okay.
Place to put the TV and then have some kind of screening wall up above it. We have that beautiful window down at the head of the stairs to give us some light into that stairwell. And then we start moving into, you know, these areas where we're getting into that bedroom wing. But as a buffer to that bedroom wing, you know, we have this office space. And I was talking with Kevin. We actually had a phone call with your shower glass guy.
Yep.
Because this whole wall here is going to be pretty much somewhere right around here. It's going to go across here. It's going to be a 9-foot glass wall. So all frameless glass. So it's going to be a pretty cool office that's fully transparent. We got some built-ins going in. But again, you know, these oversized openings are, again, for pocket doors. And so half of that will get filled in with the frame. We have a pocket door on that side. And then we have the back door to the office if you want to get out.
And these 2x6 work really well for us to have the pocket doors. We're able to get the track in, as well as 2 good-sized studs on the front and the back to be able to screw the drywall in. Lots of times on that 2x4 wall, it's a little tougher for us.
It's that little flimsy, like 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch metal stud. This gets you a real 2x on the flat. You put that track in the middle. You know, I see, you know, not only do we have engineered beams, all of our engineered columns came from Roseburg. You know, they worked with us on ensuring that we had the right deflection ratings, and all of that happening with the structural system to ensure that we have a nice sound floor. I mean, we have the warm board here, which is 1 1/8 inch thick, which also helps. That helps us out. You know, coming over here, we have, you know, this is one of the secondary bedrooms, which, I mean, hell, I'd be happy if this was my primary bedroom, right? Got a nice big 7.5 foot closet. We got some nice corner windows looking out to there. You know, we did a walkthrough earlier with the electrician to start laying out stuff. We have our bathroom here, and again, you can see the plumber. You know, he's laid out his center of lavatories and getting all of that stuff set. You can see here, he's got his vent pipe.
He's already tied in. He put his clamp at the bottom and he tied this one in already.
Right, so we're all set. That goes up. The roofer knows exactly where it has to be. We're good to go. You know, one of the things I like about this is you can walk in the garage door and look out this bathroom window, and it's probably about 150 feet away. So that was pure intent there too. Bed 2 here, nice big egress, another nice big closet. Not a whole lot of magic, but certainly a good sized bedroom. And then walking through this opening here, everything left in the house is part of the owner's suite. You know, this is a pretty cool detail where we actually have a recessed wall behind the front wall. And, you know, my intent there is these are hinge doors. And so the hinge door is able to go around and park. And when I walk down the hall, either way, I'm not looking at the butt end of the door.
Yep.
It sits down in that recess and kind of fades in and brings that wall plane out in front here.
This is a great detail. I'm working on a couple of your projects before where we've done this, and you see how it finishes when they're open, how they tuck in. It's really a nice detail that I've actually tried to get other people to incorporate.
Yeah. And then we have a nice big closet there. We're working on the details. Nice big kitchen or closet island in there. And then, of course, you know, walking in here, who doesn't like a 10-foot by 9-foot window in their bedroom?
Not a bad primary suite.
Not a bad primary suite, especially when it's looking out at your 48-foot pool.
That's right.
Sitting in the backyard. Not a bad deal, but this is very similar to the great room.
Yep.
You know, we have our truss roof. These are going to be a vented roof assembly where we'll fill this up with cellulose. Again, you know, we went with engineered lumber because of the oversized walls here. Again, all of that stuff from Roseburg. You know, the radiant floor, a lot of people have questions about, you know, do you run that in the closets? Do you run that under the exterior wall? You know, Warm Board's recommendation is run it everywhere. Right, and just have the system be in its entirety, even in all the closets. You don't want to step in that closet because if there's not warm board underneath it, you're going to notice it immediately.
Right, that was one thing that Julie brought up from Warm Board. When I asked her those questions, does it go everywhere? It goes everywhere, and don't worry about it. Build over it in certain situations that you have to.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, Matt King and his group did a really good job. We have the wall up there. We have our end truss. So everything there, we can be fully insulated. We have our R sheathing. You guys did a really good job. It came down the depth of the roof joist there. So some guys would run that last roof joist. They'd put it on the outside, they'd sheathe it, and then run the Zip R9 down to it. And you guys did it exactly the way I want to see it get done, where that sheathing comes all the way down to the bottom of the joist, and then the joist, last joist, gets put up against it and then flashed.
This is a more efficient way to do it, and as long as the guys have a little foresight when they get to that point, we can incorporate it. Certainly a better way to install that zip sheathing.
Right. So, and then lastly, the owner's bathroom. Walk through, you got a nice closet. We got sinks on each side. These will be a wall-mounted system. We have our depress shower here. So we'll have a zero entry shower there. Our toilets around the corner there. In our walkthrough with the electrician, one of the things we brought up that he wasn't aware of was we want an outlet by every toilet so that we can go with the heated and bidet type seat.
We're getting more and more people asking for those, and at this point, we're pretty much just putting outlets behind the toilets. Whether you're not using it now, there's a very good chance you might want to use it down the line.
Yeah, because a year from now, they're going to go to their sister's house who have it, and they're going to come back and say, oh, we should have put an outlet in there because Sue's got those in her bathroom, and I really want one in mine.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Just start putting
them in now, and you don't worry about it.
You put a toilet in, you get an outlet
with it,
right? And then, of course, you know, the last thing on the list here, we have our door to the outside. This is going to go to an outdoor shower. The outdoor shower is also accessible from the pool, but who wouldn't want to be able to go out there on a nice June day, or in this case, you know, an April day,
right? And
go out there and take a shower outside.
You can come from the pool to here and right back in your primary suite without ever even going into the main house.
Exactly.
Great feature.
So, no, that's good. I say, let's take a walk. We'll take a quick walk back. We'll finish in that great room because, you know, we can't finish in the bathroom in the corner.
No,
we got to go to the big room there. So, but yeah, very happy. You know, a lot of the things that, you know, about this house. There's so many things that I absolutely love about this house. But yeah.
It's really starting to take shape. As we get ready for, you know, I call them the techs. We got the electrician, the plumber, HVAC. The key is to get ready for those guys, right? And that right now we're starting to plan out where they're going to be, how they're going to go about it. Then when they do get in here, everything's going to run seamless.
I got you. Well, I would love to stay and chat with you, but I know Kevin's down in the basement, and we know how Kevin is.
No, we got some work
to do. He gets a little antsy if you're not like on his schedule, so I got to run down there, catch up with him. We're going to do a quick walk around the basement, but I got to tell you, man, you guys are doing a hell of a job. Things look great. I'm excited about where we are, super excited about where we're going. And you know, for me, it's all about the journey. You're gonna see a real cranky Steve the last week of the project because I hate when it ends.
That's okay. We can deal with it.
We'll find another project.
That's all.
We'll find Scott. They're a dime a dozen.
We're really happy with where it's at. Really happy with how it's coming along. I know Scott's happy with the progress. So you know, our key is to make you happy, make Scott happy, and build a great house.
Yeah. All right. Well, pleasure, buddy. Thanks for your time.
All right, Steve.
I got to go catch up with Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Steve, how are you?
All right, buddy.
Good.
Just did a walk upstairs with Jared. So nice to come down here. It's nice and cool.
30 degrees cooler down here than it is outside.
Yeah, it is. This is nice. Anyways, we got tons of stuff happening here, man, and we're right on the cusp of a whole bunch of stuff happening.
We're ready to get into our MEPs here.
You know, it's interesting. You know, you build a house, you start with the foundation, you go up through the roof, you build the whole house, and then you come right back to the basement. Start all over with that whole next level of everything that's going inside there. And you know, one of the interesting things about you know, these progress walks and just doing things is, it's been my experience. It's very rare where we do a set of drawings, we build it, and we're done.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of moving targets, right? I mean, we're down here. We talked about with the client originally not framing walls down here, and now he's like, well, I see them over there. Why don't we frame walls in all the storage areas? And so now we're cleaning that up. We're moving things. I know we originally talked about electrical panels there. Now we're talking about maybe putting them over there so we're not in conflict and the plumber doesn't have to go through a circus to avoid things. But I see, you know, our slab is in. Obviously the walls and framing are here. We have our Roseburg floor joists up there. Those are the 11 7/8 RFP 90. They got a 3.5-inch LVL flange. And you know, one of the beauties of this is they basically fly end to end. So you get these nice big open spaces.
And it's beneficial. I mean, you can make all these rooms as big as you want. We will have warm board on top of the concrete down here.
Where we have spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen. You know, this is one of 3 what I call dirty basements.
Yes.
Right. It's basically the storage area. And you can see that's where the bulkhead to the outside is. That's where we, you know, plan for access to our sump pump. Now this one's going to go up. This is going out to a Cultec system.
Yes, out in the back right corner of the house.
Back there. So it'll be interesting to see that. Cultec is nothing but a giant perk field.
That's all it is.
Yeah. So looking up, we can see the framing changed to some solids on there because that's where we dropped the shower in the owner's suite. So, you know, for those of you not quite familiar with construction, you can see we have 3 inches of closed cell under here that Jesus himself put in.
Yes, he was the man for the job.
He was the man for the job, you know. Someone made a joke online that, you know, he's so famous they wrote a book about him.
Yeah, a couple of them.
A couple. There's an old one and a new book, right? But anyways, we're going to get him back. We're going to get these walls framed, and he'll shoot up the rest of the wall and into the band joist area. But you can see we have that. We have our Stego wrap underneath here that, you know, is acting as our radon barrier. You can see there is one of the stubs. We have 2 radon systems here.
Yep, 2 locations, one here and one on the other side of the house.
Side, just because of the length of these 2 sections of these L's, I think it made sense to put 2 of them in there.
And going back to your progress, why it's so important to have these progress walkthroughs with client and architect is that I feel that every time we've done it, we've changed something for the better.
Did you see that? I just walked right through the wall.
And we might be able to do that. If the client wants that, we'll make that happen.
Frame.
Is that Jesus?
Is that Jesus? Jesus might walk on water, but Steve Basic walks through walls. Yeah. There you go. You know, one interesting thing about this was, and you can see it here, there's the original line snapped, and again, it's one of those things where you walk through with the homeowner, and he says, okay, I realize that was the fitness room, but you know what? Can we maybe make this room a little bit bigger?
Right.
And so we did. We extended it 8 feet, and you know, for very short money, this room got another 30–40% to the size of it, and it's almost like another sitting area. You know, we have a bedroom right there. This could very easily become like a little guest suite.
Yeah.
Right, and have a little sitting area, TV.
Yep. And what we did here was we found the pitch that we would get from the septic system to this portion of the house, so that we built this wall here inside of that pipe. So all the underground plumbing from that point, from here to our outlet pipe, is all underground. Yeah. There to the primary will all be up ahead, but that's as far as we could go. So we took this wall and moved it as far back as we could, so that there's no above head, there's no soffits, anything in here for plumbing.
And that's great thinking by you and the plumber, because you know, getting that as far back as we can means that we can expand this space, like you said, and we don't have to. I mean, so many times we're padding out a wall and running plumbing behind it and all of this, that now that feature is in the floor and it's out of the way. Now, the minute we say that, I know people are going to say, oh, it's in the floor. What happens if it gets clogged or whatever? Well, we have the riser there.
Yep.
So we'll have access, and obviously he's going to cut in some type of access to run a snake in there, if we will. And then that runs basically straight down, and I know exactly where it goes to. It goes to right here. And then it turns 90 and goes there. Now the reason I know that is we have an in-floor clean out here. And so that could clean the pipe out to the turn, and then you could drop a snake in here and run it all the way to the clean out that is at the exit point of the sewer there. So, you know, you do these progress walks, and there's so many things. You know, we're going to do another one with Scott, because the conversation with the client is not the same conversation with the builder.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you're always thinking of, hey, how do I solve a problem before it becomes a problem? But then if it does become a problem, how do I solve it, right? So, you know, having that in there, and here's that window well from the inside. Now, I can rattle off the code only because that one's pretty much embedded in my mind. For a bedroom, you need a window that's at least 5.7 square feet. It needs an opening that's at least 20 by 24 inches, could be either orientation, doesn't matter. And the sill, well, I say the sill height, but most building inspectors call it the opening height. So there is a little gray area there. Some guys say sill, some building inspectors say no, it's to the top of the window frame and the opening, but regardless, that has to be less than 44 inches, which, you know, 44 inches is probably up here somewhere. So we're well within that. But you can see that the layout positioning of that well allows us to have that window service the bedroom, this one service the general area, as well as this could potentially be another bedroom here, but planning ahead. And it's, by the time you get putting in that well, extending it down 3 feet is probably not that much more of an
it's not.
And you get that. And now, you know, a lot of people are in their basements, they're using them for more and more stuff. And when I look at this place, we have the main stair up to the first floor, we have a stair up to the garage, we have a stair out of the bulkhead, and we have 2 windows. It's a pretty safe place to be, even though we're 9 feet in the ground.
Right. It shows a lot more daylight. It feels more of a living space.
Always a place to go out. You know, one of the other kind of technicalities is you can see there's a little piece of foam sill sealer down at the bottom of the wall there to provide a capillary break. And I know we went over that detail, and it's under every one of the plates here inside the basement there, just to provide that capillary break from the concrete. Even though we have stone and we have insulation and stego, there's nothing like putting a pair of suspenders on a pair of pants that already have a belt on.
Oh, not at all.
Right? And then, of course, this is just a hallway. As you come around into this space, we have the bathroom there. We can see all of our plumbing fixtures have initially been cared for, laid out. We have the sink, the toilet, and the tub situation there. And we have just kind of a general area. We threw a window in here to provide some natural light. Now, granted, these are all fixed windows. You're not going in there getting ventilation. There's not great light, but you know, when you come down the basement and you're a guest staying in that room, just walking to the bathroom and being able to look outside, see blue sky, see the weather, it's a mental thing.
It's a different feel.
You're not in the basement.
Right.
You know, so many people have this bad connotation of, oh, it's in the basement. And it's like, no, basements today aren't really a bad thing anymore. So there we have a little closet under, but here we have the stairway, comes down and basically opens to this, I don't know, we're probably on the order of what, about 30 feet by 16, I believe?
Yeah. Yep.
Down here. And this is all rec room and media room here. And, you know, we'll have a beautiful staircase there now. I know we had some talk. We have a wall in there. We're still doing some final push points on the stairway. So this could, in fact, maybe get cut back a stud or two. We'll figure that out and get the final stair design in there. You know, one of the things, I know this video is going to go up, and half of the comments are going to be, what's all those crazy little wood sticks underneath
Yeah,
the floor joist?
yeah.
Because here in New England, we do something we call strapping. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so on all of our houses, we add strapping so that we can run all of our electric wires on the joists and not on the strapping. So the strapping acts as a barrier, or I should say a space, so that we can hit our drywall to the strapping and not to the joists.
Right.
So we're not drilling any holes through these
But
side
even water
joists.
lines, if you keep
Water
it
lines,
less
yep.
than a 3/4 inch water line,
Yep.
it all fits in there.
Yeah.
Now, historically, I believe that was put up because when you did like 2x10 joists, 2x12 joists, they were slightly not consistent. Some of them dried faster than others, some of them warped a little. So by changing the direction, allowed you to make for some correction.
Yes.
On those inconsistencies of a solid sawn system.
Yep.
But when I do work, say Colorado, those guys are like, why don't we just put the sheetrock to the underside of the floor joist? Like, this is like an alien ship to them. Once you get out of New England, everybody wants to know what's up with that strapping. But you know, some people, Jake down in Missouri, he actually has taken it upon himself to, when they do their buildings, they do it because they like having that access. If we take this out, inevitably, the plumber, the electrician, they're all coming back and starting to yell at us.
Yeah,
Where's my strapping?
Yes.
Now I got to drill all these holes.
And it's their way every single project when the strapping's not installed yet, their question is, when's the strapping getting installed so I can get in there and get going?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. You know, as far as the design here we have that relates to your work, you know, we have the dirty basement there. This is another section of dirty basement on the back side of the rec room. And my intent was, basically we do that shotgun dirty basement, and what it does is it gives me access to every one of these joist bays. Because we can drop that beam underneath the, or put it in the wall like we did. It hides all of those lolly columns in the wall, but now your mechanical guy, he can run a trunk in there, jump up and come across here with all of his ductwork.
Yeah, so we're not having any soffits on this side or that. Everything is, like you had mentioned, run down the beam into the bays.
Yeah.
Makes for a lot cleaner look.
And hence, that's why I call this the clean basement, and that's the dirty basement, right?
Yes.
Stuff can hang underneath the floor joists, hang down, get nailed on walls, but here, we want that nice clean look, right? So, coming into this here, so I did make it so that we have a little 3-foot pass through from that dirty basement into the third section, but Scott also wanted a door here so that anything that they bring down the garage stairs, they could easily move into that room. Just come over here right quick, and we can make mention of this.
So this is our sewer pipe, septic pipe, taking all of our underground plumbing from that location of the house into here, and this will be our outlet pipe for the entire house. So anything on this portion of this side of the house will be overhead, which is in the dirty side of the basement. So it'll be visible, and then it will die into here and out to the septic system.
And of course, we'll have some type of clean out attachment so that we can snake this out that way, snake it back this way.
Yeah, there's a clean out on this side and there's a clean out down there. So we have 3 clean outs just in this space so that if there was any issue with the pipe, we could address it.
We have some access
Yep.
to it, yeah. So, and then, of course, this is the third of the dirty basements. We have our secondary radon pipe there. We have our secondary sump pit
Gas
there.
tight lid for the
Gas
radon.
tight, airtight, yep, because of radon issues here.
Yep.
So that's all fully gasketed, screwed down. That's going to go up and go out pretty much above the septic system out there.
Yeah, so this system will go to daylight, and the back system will go to the Cultec system, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and you know, the other beauty of having these multiple dirty basements are, rather than put one large water heater, we're going to significantly downsize them and put one in this basement, and then we're going to put one on the other side. Because it just, you know, in talking with the plumber, It just doesn't make sense to put a water heater here and then pipe water 120 feet to a faucet there. And likewise to put it there and plumb it over here to the powder room or laundry room.
Yeah.
So splitting up the house, you know, there's a little incremental value, but you get a luxury that's associated with that incremental cost there. But yeah, I mean, I think that's
we're getting there.
We have our door there. We're going to pour the slab, then we'll be able to set the elevation, get those stairs in, and we'll be able to walk down a set of stairs over on this side of the house. And I think that's
about it.
Our walk,
yeah.
man. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, Steve.
Certainly a pleasure working with you and Jared.
Likewise.
Scott, I guess I have to publicly go on record and say Scott is a very good client. Him and Jonathan, he's been a lot of fun to work with.
So when we got into this, when you had mentioned the Scott and Jonathan, you said they were going to be heavily involved. They are heavily involved, but for
Is Scott an employee of LDS yet?
He might be after this, so we'll do more projects after this, but he's been a joy to work with. All he wants to learn, and he's teaching while learning, and so we're back and forth. He's been a lot of fun to work with so far.
All right. Well, there you have it, Build Show. That's progress. We got a lot of stuff coming. We got roofing videos, we got roughs of electrical, plumbing, mechanical coming. We're looking at interiors, we're talking to cabinet makers, we're picking out flooring. We got siding videos coming. The whole shooting match is coming here. We're done with framing and all of that. If you haven't seen them or haven't watched them 7 times, get back there. I'm just going by what the sign says. 7
We need
times.
a pool company.
And we need a pool company. If any pool companies out there want to talk about putting pools in at Build Show Build Boston. Anyways, Steve Basic Architect for the Build Show and Build Show Build Boston. Kevin with LDS. Until next time, that's progress.